Okay, welcome to another prepared flight simulator video, and this is going to be another fly around of a particular part of the world. This time we are in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Let me go ahead and start the stopwatch here again so I can keep these videos down to about 10 minutes. I think makes for a good fly around video. So let's go full throttle, let's take off. And this was requested by somebody who saw one of my previous videos that I do a fly around of Rio de Janeiro. And that's a good destination, or at least a good area to fly around. I've kind of always been a bit interested in Brazil myself. I'm not actually sure why. Let me raise the landing gear. Just doing a quick look outside to make sure the landing gear was going up. But yeah, I've kind of always had a little bit of an interest in Brazil, and I don't have any family from there, and my family lineage does not go to that part of the world. I'm actually Irish, but something kind of cool about Rio de Janeiro, about Brazil. So let me throttle back to make sure I don't overstress the vessel here. And right away I'm interested in this area because, again, it's mountainous, and mountains just look good in simulators when you're flying around and you have these distant hillsides that climb up pretty high. It just makes everything look a lot more interesting. So let's turn toward the west and just bank around, maybe do a complete loop. And one thing I'd be curious to know is if I can actually find the statue of Jesus. That's of course a very popular monument in Rio de Janeiro. And I don't know where it's located. I have absolutely no idea, so I don't know if I'll be able to find it or not. Back off the throttle a little bit while I do this turn. I'm guessing, though, if you do see it, it will stand out quite a bit. Maybe. I don't know. I don't really know how large it is, so any rate, we can kind of look down here to our left, and we can see the city, and we took off over there. And I've never been to Brazil, never been to Rio de Janeiro, so I don't know how accurate this this modeling is, but I believe, just from my own experience flying around areas that I am familiar with, it's pretty accurate. There's a bit of a limitation because you have to do a certain amount of scenery generation that's just automatic. They can't model every single house and every single road, at least not at this point. Maybe we'll get there someday. You know what? I think I see the Jesus statue. Let me throttle back. And do a flyby, because that's going to be very cool if that's it. Yep, that's it. That's very cool. I'm glad they have that in here. One of these days I'll have to fly over here in a helicopter and get a more close-up look so I can hover in place. Although flying helicopters in the flight simulator is not something I'm especially good at. I'm okay with model helicopters. I've actually got a couple, especially the coaxial ones that they're a lot more stable, and I'm actually okay at flying those. But in a flight sim, I don't know, the controls are just a bit odd to me. Now I have a black stripe down the right side of my monitor. I'm not sure if that's showing up in the video playback, but let me see if I can get rid of that real quick by right-clicking out here here in hide menu bar. Yeah, that got rid of it for me at least. There's still quite a few bugs with this simulator. The prepared forums have stated they are going to do a 2.05 release. they were planning on just going from 2 to 2.1, but there are several major problems in 2.0, so they want to do a, sort of a half-point release to address some of those major problems. And that should be coming here at the first of the year, January. So, looks like here we have, I don't know if this is all part of Rio de Janeiro, or if that's a different town. But let's turn back toward the major city. There's the airport. Somebody gave me a tip in one of the previous videos that if I press the slash key, it puts out the air brakes. I did not know that, and that helps quite a bit. Let me check the time here. And we're only about 6 minutes. Let's fly around a little bit more, and then maybe to close things out, I'll try to do a landing. Actually, I'm not sure if that's the airport I took off from or if it was that one. Nice looking city. There's some interesting structures down there. There's like a pyramid or something. It must have been this airport because the one I took off from was the international airport, so this one clearly is quite large. So I'm sure that's the one I took off from. Let's bring up the throttle a little bit, fly out a ways, and then come back in and try to do a landing. I haven't landed this craft yet, at least not in the video. So far, we've just had a couple of multi-$100 million crashes into the runway. But in all fairness, when you do these types of videos, you're really not concentrating too much on approach and landing. Kind of interesting here how we have this relatively flat area and then there's just this quite large hillside here, and then it goes back to being flat on the other side. Just some interesting geography. And there are some houses and such, so all these people are safe from any flooding. Yeah, and then there's a whole nother city on the other side. Very interesting. And it looks like if we fly sort of northwest here, we're getting into some hillsides. I don't know how mountainous it gets, but it's not completely flat for sure. Okay, let's fly back toward one of those runways and see if we can actually land this thing. Thus far, I've not managed to do that. But now that I know about the air brake, I think we'll have a fair bit more success with that. So pulling 3.4 Gs right now just on this turn, because we are over Mach 1, so we're shattering windows and irritating people and freaking them out all along this flight. So I believe the runways were over there on that little island area. So let's head that way. Yep, that's got a runway. And we should be able to slow things down pretty quickly, so we will just head that way at a fairly quick rate. And there's another runway down there on the lower right, but we're not lined up with that one at all. Okay, let's get ready to land. Back off the throttle. And we're going to do kind of like we do with the XR2. I'm going to place the velocity vector more or less on the runway. And that should be a good lineup right there. Controls are a little bit too sensitive. I still need to work on the sensitivity settings. And when we get a little closer here, I'll throw out the air brake to slow things down. Yeah, definitely have to work on that sensitivity. Okay, let's put out the air brake. If you see in the HUD there, it says SBK. I guess that stands for speed brake. And we still need to slow down a lot more than this. I don't think the landing gear will even go down until you're at like 175 or something. Let's see if we got the landing gear to go down. We did. Alright, we should be able to land. Yeah, now things are slowing down quite a bit. Matter of fact, I can bring the speed brake back in now. Might even have to add some more velocity. Bring up the throttle just a little bit, because we are kind of sliding around the sky here. Alright. See if we can touch down. There we are. Okay, and we've managed to land the F-22 Raptor for the first time, at least in the videos. I've landed it a couple times off camera, but in the prior videos, every time I've tried, I've just ended up crashing into the runway. Okay, so let's bring it to a stop, and that's going to be the end of this video. Again, if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't like it, hit the don't like button. And if you want me to fly around some part of the world that you're interested in, leave a comment down below. Let me know the city and country, or the airport ID, something like that, and I will happily oblige. See you in the next video.